It might be 4th of July weekend, but what it also means this week is that we are halfway through this year. Crazy. 2025 is almost over. My son is almost 1 year old, but that means it's time to talk about my top 10 favorite movies so far for 2025, and I'm excited to give you guys my list. This year has been weird. Like, there's been a lot of movies that I've genuinely liked, thought were pretty good, thought some were pretty great. For the most part, this is a year where I don't feel like my top 10 is like the top 10 best movies ever. There are some fantastic movies for sure, but I'm definitely excited to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. What were some of your favorites this year so far? And also look forward to my most anticipated for the rest of the year as well. Without further ado, let's get into this. My number 10 is a little movie that came out on Apple TV called The Gorge. Now, for me, I know a lot of people probably didn't like this movie. Didn't really get the best reception, but the concept intrigued me way too much to not be interested in watching. And Scott Derrickson's a very interesting director for me too. I find a lot of his films to be really damn good. And The Gorge might be personally my personal favorite from him. Now, is The Gorge everything? No. Is it a little bit messy? Yes. Tonally, is it all over the place? Absolutely. But for me, the thing that really latched me on with The Gorge was that concept of this gorge with two snipers at either end and what is going on. This film had aspects of action, horror, romance, a little bit of humor. It is, for me, kind of a unique kind of blend of all of these different ideas. And again, all these different blends of a tonal shift and genres. And does it work? Kind of. At least it did for me. And I found, again, if you have not seen this movie, I highly recommend it. I don't want to get into spoilers, but I found I really liked all the explanations. I love the visual effects in here. I love the designs of the things that are in the gorge. I thought Miles Teller was really good. I thought Anya Taylor-Joy was really good. Again, this is, for me, one of my favorite films of this year, and it was one of the most enjoyable films that I've watched in 2025. My number 9 is Black Bag. Black Bag is a film that's only grown on me the more and more I've rewatched it and just thought about it, and it is an interesting one at that. When I initially watched it, I thought, oh, that was a really damn good time. But the more and more I've thought about it, again, when it went on streaming, I told my mother-in-law about it, I told some of my friends about it, told them, y'all gotta watch Black Bag, and then they all watched it and said, that was damn pretty good. The script here is the thing that really locks you in. I think what Steven Soderbergh does so well with this film is the fact that he's able to grip you with its cast, with its story, and really much have you play this guessing game of who did it. And it's in the spy genre, but in a more realistic flair to what this all is. And the best way that I equivalent this is that it's a spy film, but it's Knives Out. And that you're trying to figure out who is the betrayer in this group of people. And it really does put you for a twist and turns of things that once you finally do see who did it, you're like, I should have seen that all along. And then you look back and you're like, why would I have thought it was this person? Why would I have thought it was this person? Why do I think it was this person? And it just features an amazing cast in here as well. Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender, for me, were like the huge standouts in here, but I really did love Black Bag, and I found the entire cast to be great and the concept to be awesome. Get into my number 8, and this is The Ballerina. The Ballerina is a movie that I was always excited for, but never had much hope for, especially with the delay. The delay when they said Chad was coming in to basically like redo a lot of the movie, and I don't know how much of that was true or not. Kind of worries you a little bit. Still, I was excited for it. I just, again, did not have hope for The Ballerina. I might love Ana de Armas. I love the world of John Wick. And to my surprise, The Ballerina is awesome in almost every way. I think the plot is a little bit too simple, a little bit too thin, and a little bit of, I've seen this all before, and you may say the same thing about John Wick, but for some reason, I find a difference between Ballerina and John Wick in terms of this plot and the story and the way that they're told, at least. But here, what I will lay out is that what The Ballerina does really well, that it continues the world of John Wick. It adds mythology to the world of John Wick. Not just things that we've already seen before, but it adds this whole cult, which for me was like one of the more intriguing aspects of the entire film that I actually wish they would have dove into a little bit deeper. And for me, I actually love that. And again, if we were to get a Ballerina 2, that would be something that I would be very intrigued to continue to see. I think Ana de Armas is great. I love her in this role. I thought what the usage of John Wick in here was pretty fairly good. Norman Reedus for me, also a big standout. And for me, I found basically the entire cast to be great. There's just certain choices in here that they make with the story that I wish they would have added a little bit more to, because it probably would have added more depth to. But for me, the reason you go to the Ballerina through and throughout is for the actions. Mostly the same thing for John Wick. And I got great mythology. I got badass action. That flamethrower sequence, the grenade belt sequence, all-timers in the John Wick world, and probably some of my favorite action set pieces in the entire universe. My number 7, and this is Thunderbolts. I think this is one of the best MCU movies ever made. There's just no doubt about that. And for me, Thunderbolts is an interesting concept because when it was announced, I was always excited for it. They laid out the director and writer, loved Beef, automatically excited for that too. They showed me the cast. You got Florence Pugh, you got David Harbour, you got Sebastian Stan, you got Wyatt Russell, you got Hannah John Kamen, you have Taskmaster coming back. You have Lewis Pullman, who was originally supposed to be Stephen Yeun, but still, you have Lewis Pullman playing Sentry. The cast just kept growing and exciting me. The trailers looked awesome, and every little bit of Thunderbolts just had me oozing and eyeing and having a ball. Then the film comes out, and it lived up to all that hype, if not even better than what it was. I love the banter between them. I would have even liked a little bit more of it. I love the thematics of grief, depression, like being a loser. Like that is what this movie's about. They're all losers just trying to find their way in this life. And I love that the fact that these losers end up becoming, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Thunderbolts yet, the new Avengers by the end. And that's the one thing I loved about this Thunderbolts film, is that it cements and you just have a damn great movie. And then by the end of the film, you get to that end point and you're like, oh, hell yeah. This is awesome that now it continues into the MCU world. They're the new Avengers. Now that you have the new Avengers here, then it plays into that end credit scene, which is a fantastic epilogue that sets up Avengers Doomsday, the Fantastic Four, and so much more. And there's so much intriguing dialogue in there. But it wasn't the end credit scene that excited me. It was the film was just great, and then I got a great post-credit scene that sets up the next film. That's how the MCU used to do movies. That's how they should have been doing movies. The post-credit scene should always lead into the next film or something that's at least coming out in the next year, I would say. That is what this one did. And for me, it laid out, it felt like it lived in the world of the MCU. It did its own thing. The Void was amazing, and I thoroughly was impressed with Thunderbolts. And my number 6, and that is Warfare. Warfare, for me, is one of the best war films ever made. This is one that has stuck with me. It attacks your senses. It attacks every emotion that you could feel. And I don't know how this movie holds up at home. My Blu-ray comes in on Monday, so I'm very excited to check that out again and show my wife it. But it is a very intense experience that, for me, is unlike anything I've seen before. In terms of especially the way that they showcase war, the way that it feels so realistic, and the way that it is handled and directed. The story is the mission. When the mission starts, that's where this starts. Where the mission ends, that's where the mission ends. And while the performances are grand in the way that they're able to deliver emotion and not really see much, the film is able to deliver emotion just from the start of seeing the banter between these guys and then the war that they're in. This is just a pure 90-minute thriller that just keeps you on edge the whole time. And I cannot emphasize enough how incredible Warfare is. And we get into my number 5, which is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I think for me, a damn perfect finale to the Mission Impossible franchise. I know some people have been a little bit mixed on this movie, but I still love this movie the more and more I think about it. It's long. Does it need to be this long? No. Were there too many flashbacks? Yes. But what I loved about this is it had a mix of like the entire franchise of Mission Impossible. You had some of like the aspects and tones of Mission Impossible 3, even tie-ins from that story. You had the tonal aspect and the stunts of Dead Reckoning. And then you even had a lot of the talkie stuff of Mission Impossible 1. This is a very dialogue-heavy Mission Impossible film, and it never bored me. I was always very intrigued with watching it. I loved each and every one of the stunts. They are all-timers in that entire franchise. The submarine sequence to the biplane sequence, which I think the biplane sequence might be the best thing that they've ever done. I still wonder how the hell they even pulled that off. Regardless, I think Tom Cruise does an amazing job as Ethan Hunt, and I cannot emphasize enough how much I hope that this is his final performance as Ethan Hunt. I do not want to see Ethan Hunt again. I do not want to see Mission Impossible like with Tom Cruise again. If they want to have a new cast or do spin-offs, whatever, do it. Well, for me, The Final Reckoning was the final film for Mission Impossible, and it should be. The ending is pretty open-ended, but it just feels finale. I don't know where else you would go with it. I love this movie. I thought it was great. And again, I can't wait to see it again. Number 4, and this is Bring Her Back. This is a horror masterpiece for me. I think this is one of A24's best horror movies that they've put out. And for me, it is a horror film that actually depressed the hell out of me. The way that it talks about grief, the way that it actually showcases how someone can go through this, and the way that Sally Hawkins emotes herself is absolutely incredible. And the way that she's able to digest this and actually bring you almost to tears. The final shot of this movie is one of the best final shots I would say of this year and possibly of the last couple. This is a movie that I absolutely love. Talk to Me, and I loved seeing what the Filippo brothers were able to do in that film. And now to see what Danny and Michael were able to do and Bring Her Back and showcase even more emotion, and same thing with horror, where they're able to bring the gore, they're able to bring the craziness, they're able to bring the weirdness, but at the heart of all their stories is actually an emotional crux, and you can really feel that in Bring Her Back. Bring Her Back feels very stripped back in terms of its story, and again, in terms of its performances. Not even just Sally Hawkins, but the rest of them are all fantastic as well, and it is a very creepy movie. And my favorite thing about it is the way that they have all this mythology for what's going on with this kid, and they never have to like force feed you anything. You just get it. I love the way that they handled that and delivered that. There's not really a lot of big exposition scenes. This is just a damn perfect movie in my opinion, and I absolutely loved it. And my number 3, which is F1. F1 is the Top Gun Maverick of this year. It's the dad movie of 2025, and it's damn near awesome movie. It's a movie that I was thrilled to no end, and my only issue with the movie is that I just think it's too damn long. I think it runs into some repetitive storylines in the middle of it, and it's just trying to figure out its way towards the end. But man, the thrill ride that you get throughout here, what Joseph Kosinski is able to throw you into the seat in an F1 Formula racing car is absolutely incredible. I thought the performances around here were just great. This felt like an old school movie. Dempson Idris was awesome in here. I thought Brad Pitt was phenomenal. I think for me, this is just one of those movies, again, that you go and see it at the theaters, you get that experience, and you feel it to your core. F1 is one of those movies and one of those experiences that I can't wait to watch again. And once it comes home video, I can't wait to watch it as well with my wife. I know she's going to absolutely love it. Get into my number 2, and this is Materialist. Materialist is one of my most anticipated movies for this year, mainly because Past Lives is one of my favorite films of this decade so far. Is Materialist better than Past Lives? I don't think so. But Materialist for me is a perfect romance, and specifically the way that it digests and touches on the modern romantic love stories of people. Now, I know a lot of people were a little bit disappointed in this. I think some people expected more of a romantic comedy. Some people thought the tone bounced around too much. But for me, I think what Celine Song does in here is she's able to showcase what she feels is how modern love stories kind of go, and what materialistic people actually do and how people are actually feeling. And for me, the way that she writes and talks about love is just absolutely something that I fully agree with. I agreed with almost everything that she mentioned and said in Past Lives in terms of themes and thematics. And I felt the same thing here with Materialist, with its themes and thematics there as well. I thought the performances here were outstanding. Pedro Pascal is amazing, and there's some really great moments between him and Dakota Johnson in here, and just some great sequences, and even some great lines, specifically one that deals with legs and a discussion in the middle of the night. I thought that was fantastic. But I think the true standout here, besides Celine Song's directing and writing and her just, again, aspect on love and romance, is Dakota Johnson and Chris Evans. They deliver for me their best performances of their career. They deliver for me some of the, like, personally for me, again, I don't watch a lot of romances, but they deliver top 10 most iconic romantic moments of all time. And it's towards the end, Chris Evans has this amazing monologue that I just sat there and utter awe and love of it. And I told my wife, I was like, if we had seen this movie before we had gotten married, that line, some of those lines would have absolutely made it into my vows. And if we ever renew our vows, those will 1000% be in my vows there. I absolutely love The Materialist. I think is fucking great, and I can't wait to see this one again as well. This is one that I actually wish I could have already gone and seen in the theaters, but with an 8-month-old, it's kind of hard to get out of the house. My number one favorite movie of the year is probably going to be a lot of your guys' favorites as well, and that is Sinners. Sinners, for me, I really don't see any film knocking this out of my number one spot. There's not been a single film that has like transcended and hit to the way that Ryan Coogler's Sinners has hit me and affected my life. I literally think about this movie so much. And there was a time when this movie was coming that me and my wife tried so many times to go to the theaters to see this. So she's still not seen this movie. I probably kept buying tickets and returning them, because we were just trying to figure out the perfect date to go see this film. And I can't, again, this is one of those ones that I can't wait to see when she finally gets to see it, because I found Sinners to just be fucking perfect. I literally think this is a masterpiece. I think this is one of the best movies of the decade. I think this is one of the best movies of the 21st century. That whole New York Times thing, that this was on my list. Sinners is one of those films that will eventually become one of those all-timers that ends up being in my top 10 of all time. I already know it. I already feel it. It's a film that, just from its greatly written dialogue from Ryan Coogler to the incredible direction from Top Notch, from all these new aspects, it just felt like something that was just firing on all cylinders. And what I loved about it is that I went into this knowing that this was a vampire film, and I forgot it was a vampire film, and I was sucked into this like gangster period piece that we got. And while, yes, in my review I mentioned the Wild Wild West, and I know that this doesn't take place during the Wild Wild West, but some of the themes and some of the genres aspects and the genre blending feel like that. But in the end of the day, what I really saw people talk about is that this feels like a folk tale in the South. And I fully agree with that, and I fully love that. Michael B. Jordan in here is damn near great as two different characters. Haley Steinfeld's great. The entire cast for me is amazing. But I think Miles Canton is, for me, the big standout of this entire film. The music and the way that the music aspect is written into the film, it actually feels like an added layer to it all. And again, once the vampires do come in, the way that they just use them was perfection. I love that Ryan Coogler didn't try to do anything new with the vampire mythology. He just let it be how it is. But what he did do new was write a fucking masterpiece of a movie that, again, when I look at every movie this year, I think Sinners is like way above all of these in terms of perfection, in terms of why you go to the movies. And then like everything else is like kind of down here. And then like everything out of my top 10 is like a little bit lower than there. I just damn near loved Sinners. I could talk about this movie for hours and hours, but you can go watch my review to get that full experience. Those are my top 10 favorite movies of 2025 so far. So thank you so much again for watching this. What are your top 10? Leave me your thoughts down below. And again, look forward to my most anticipated 10 movies coming up very soon. I don't know if I'm going to put it out this week or next week, but you'll fairly know soon, as well as look out for my review and early reaction to Superman coming next week as well. Very excited to see that one. But of course, until next time, stay classy.